What is steam room culture? Like just...
They do be fucking. There's a lot of like
of them?
giving myself a boner and then presenting it.
Oh,
This is not what I do. I am the gentler sex at the end of the day. I am made to be wooed and not to woo.
Okay.
Nice. We are here with motherfucking Mehran Khaghani. I'm so excited.
I love you guys.
So happy. I love you so much. You're one of the few people. There's a couple handful I could name, but you are one at the top of the list of like whenever I see you, whatever energy I had, it's now being enhanced.
It's in me, all that fire is repeated. In me, nothing is extinguished or forgotten.
Whoa, that was so beautiful.
It's Pablo Neruda. It's absolutely not me. But yeah, I the same, like 100% the same. There's like, I don't know, it's like a wacky, our job is a wacky thing.
So
Entertainment
wacky.
is a wacky thing. And it feels like there's a lot of glad handing. There's a lot of like being nice because you never know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But then, like, right? I mean,
That's the best reason to be nice.
you know what I mean? Because you never know.
Yeah.
You
They
never
could
know.
hire you later.
Or, you know, God, like gain power and then become a tyrant. But
That too.
You know what I mean?
I do.
But the handful of relationships that you have over years where like when you see them, you're like, fucking good person. Fucking good person. Like up, down,
Yeah.
good, solid love person. That's how I feel.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you've had lots of ups and downs, as we all have.
Sure.
But one of them was sobriety. And I remember
fuck.
before I knew you had an issue,
Yeah.
before I knew you had an issue, I remember seeing you like a couple months ago or maybe a year ago. Again, I don't know what time it is. But I remember I'm like, you are so grounded. And you were like, I went to rehab. And I was like, fuck, dude.
Oh, you went
are,
to rehab.
You
Oh,
are
right.
like so grounded and present. And you don't know that people aren't grounded and present. I mean, maybe you can kind of guess, but like until you really see somebody grounded and present, I think even if you're not an addict, people are not grounded and present, right? But
That's
like
interesting.
going through an addiction, Oprah says it's one of the most important spiritual work anybody will ever do in a lifetime is to conquer an addiction. It's one of the hardest
Oprah.
things to do.
Oh,
I know.
yeah, good, because she was a basehead.
Yeah. What?
Yes, she was freebasing to
No.
lose. Oh, yeah.
What? She didn't
Oprah
say
was
that part?
Oh yeah, on her show
Freebasing?
she talked about it.
She was?
It was a weight control thing for her. I think a lot of it, and also
With
just
meth?
like the demands. She was smoking coke
Wow.
You can smoke
and
coke?
crack. Yeah, you can absolutely smoke coke.
wait,
Coolies,
when you smoke coke, it
suck
turns
it into a
into-
joint.
I don't know anything about drugs.
What's it called when you smoke coke? It's like something else. It's another
Oh,
drug.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
No, I mean,
Anyway, she was fucking freebasing it.
she was
That's-
full tilt boogie freebasing, like when she was like
Jesus.
like America's sweetheart, like rallying people around like the flag of progress, right?
Right.
Of self-care.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yes.
We all have our
Alright.
demons.
Yes,
We all have
the
our
world.
secrets.
The world is a pantomime.
Yeah.
It just is.
So what brought you, like, what did you said you were very sick when you were addicted. Like, what did that look like? What did addicted
I was
Mehran
physically ill, right? So crazy. Drinking was daily, and I was like, no one could outdrink me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
You're
about
very
no one
tall,
could.
though.
I'm a tall person,
Yeah.
and I'm a seasoned drunk, and
Yeah.
there's something mystic to it. I think like there was just an affinity. You know how like some people can like do coke and not suffer that much?
Right, yeah, it's
There
weird.
are just some people who do. And I remember the very first time I did coke, like I was up all night suffering. Like bona fide, like as an after the fact, just being like, let me sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I just know people who are able to do cocaine and it doesn't
almost
turn them
calms
into
them
monsters.
down
It can calm
sometimes,
them
which is-
down.
yeah, the first time I did cocaine, I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like it was awful.
It's a lot.
But then I tried it a couple more times to
Yeah,
make sure I
just
didn't like
tried
it.
it, just tried it.
Didn't like it either those times. Yeah.
So there was always drinking, but I also had like a sizable painkiller problem.
Oh, opioids.
And opioids in a big way. I would take about like 250 milligrams of oxycodone once a month. So
okay.
I wouldn't miss that many shows. I would do it all at once.
Wait, you would take all that at once?
And over the course of 24 hours, I would take...
For like a mental vacation?
Yeah. to
So
top
one
out
day
of
off
life.
a month, one day off
I would
a
call
month.
it Maycation.
Okay. I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds fucking awesome.
Well, how did now?
That sounds
real
fucking
talk.
awesome.
I know opioids are bad and addiction is bad, but how
Yeah.
did it feel?
I called it tickling God's feet. Like I loved it. Like and like just like
sounds
ordering
beautiful.
food, binge watching something and being high on opiates. Like it was a reprieve from the suffering of life.
Yeah.
Right. But
we're like longing. Like
I know. I'm like, wait,
Well, you know,
where do you get
salivating.
them?
these things work until they don't.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never done an
Of course,
opioid.
of course.
Because it feels like so many people are addicted to them and that it's low grade heroin, right?
Yeah,
I
but-
don't want to feel that good feeling because I'm going to want it.
You cannot be productive. It is just, it does not lend itself to, and the two of you are ambitious, able-bodied, like you're go-getters, right?
Yeah.
And I've always known you to be go-getters. And it is not the kind of thing that you can do and then like
Go out there and
be
get
an
the
active
world.
participant in life.
Okay.
It is very much
Take a time
isolated.
out.
It's very much like, right?
Okay. So just one day a month. That's so interesting.
Yeah, that was just one.
that
right?
seems like the most responsible way to do it.
Yeah, honestly,
I mean,
yeah.
I had
Honestly, yeah.
systems,
Yeah.
right? But the problem was I was physically dying. I was
Okay.
Yeah, like my blood work was that of like a 70-year-old man.
Well, I mean, you
Shit.
did reverse age visibly.
Yeah, I mean, that is very sweet. You say it to me every time. She's the nicest.
You just did.
And, and also too, like if you stop drinking alcohol alone, you're gonna look younger. Just
That's
with
real.
that.
I'm just fascinated by the body's ability to recover from real bad things.
Dude, our
100%.
bodies
I
are
think about this all the
brilliant.
time.
Yeah.
Our bodies are brilliant. We just don't give it the chance to fix us.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Like our bodies are fighting to live at all times,
Yeah.
despite us.
Harder
Yeah.
than we are fighting to
Harder
live.
than-
So much harder.
Have you ever? I mean, like this is a little grim, but
Let's go.
my mom passed in January, and I unplugged her.
Oh, fuck.
And I was the one who was like goading the nurses to give her more Ativan, more morphine.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's get her out. She wants
Yeah.
out. Let's get her out. And the body fights. Like it doesn't just
Wild.
be like, okay, I want to die. Here you go. Throw me. No, it's like
yeah.
it will breathe until it can't breathe anymore. It's
Shit.
fucking wild.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
It is wild. We are
What?
constantly regenerating, constantly fighting to live.
How is it to
Yeah.
unplug your mom?
It was crazy. It was a really crazy thing to do. I was like kind of her spiritual doula at the end. It
Wow,
was-
that's beautiful.
And that I was able to do that entirely because of sobriety. There's no way I would have been able to do that hungover. I wouldn't have had the presence of heart to be able to do that if I were, abusing opiates or high on Xanax all the fucking time or
Is that where you got the opiates from? WEISBERG?
well, no. I mean, I
feel like they're everywhere.
I gamed doctors.
Oh,
My
yeah.
trick was to game doctors. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to pain clinics I didn't need
Honestly,
to go to.
doctors love that.
Well-
I've watched so many documentaries on opioids. They're trying to give it out. They're
Well,
like, take it, take it, take
now,
it, take it.
Now it's hard, but that was why, like, as time went on, I had to jump through more and more hoops to maintain access to it.
Now, last time we had you on the show was many, many years ago.
Many moons ago.
And you described like really a traumatic childhood of not being accepted.
Wow, I talked about that. That's interesting.
Well,
okay, yeah.
I probably egged you on for it because I was going through my own shit. Because I'm like, somebody else make me feel better.
Trauma dumping. Yeah.
Truly,
Yeah.
trauma bonding.
Yeah, bonding.
I believe it was on your dad's side, possibly. But how was your mom growing up? Like, was she accepting? Was she?
No, I mean, like, she absolutely, it was rough because
She
my
write you
father
off?
would like come to America and be like, look at the kid, this is your fault. Because my mother was raising us more or less by herself. So women getting blamed for shit, I know.
Fucking everything.
What? And so he would do that to her, and then she would like sort of double down, and she would encourage my brother to beat me, to kind of like beat the soft out of me. And so there was violence for a very long time. She kicked me out of the house. I mean, like, so it was a tense relationship. It was.
Does that go away when somebody starts to die?
Yeah. I mean, like, the reality, because here's the thing. You go to rehab, you're dealing with yourself. I went to a dual diagnosis trauma specialty rehabilitation center, which is now closed down.
Oh, why?
I don't know, but the CEO killed himself, and then someone else took over and he killed himself. This all happened like a month ago today. Like
Holy shit, Mehran.
Yes, chaos.
Oh my God.
Chaos.
But it helped you.
It helped me. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Because trauma.
Can't put that in the pamphlet.
no.
though.
Well, they ain't no pamphlet no more.
no, there ain't no pamphlets, Mama. No, it's true.
But like the opposite of trauma is connection, just like the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yes,
so it's
yes,
usually when
yes.
you have an addiction, there's some traumatic thing that you have shoved down.
So that was a weird thing that happened when I was at rehab I got there on a Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, they just let you sleep. God bless them.
That's nice.
Weekend, you're not in a group yet because it's the weekend.
right.
So then I had this like 4-day period where I didn't belong anywhere. I could just float around rehab. And I was just meeting people.
I'd be like, Girl Interrupted. I'd just be like pretending to be somebody else.
Which one? Angelina Jolie? I would be like, it's nice to do something nice for Daisy on her last day.
I would switch. Right. I'd be like, oh, that one's sane.
I just went and I was like meeting people, and I was actually like a little nosy. I was like kind of cheeky. And I was like, I asked everyone 3 questions. I was like, so what got you here? What landed you in
party
here?
Game.
100%.
That'd be me. That'd be me.
What landed you in here? No, it was what was your poison?
Okay.
What landed you in here, and what happened?
Oh, yeah. 3 great questions.
The what happened was it was blatantly what was the traumatic event in your life.
Yeah.
Did any of them people told you these things?
Every single one of them.
That's beautiful.
Told me. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever.
Do you remember any of them?
I remember all of them.
Wow. Any stand out?
I mean, like
humans are so resilient.
There were 2 cases where they were using with their parents the night that they overdosed.
Fuck,
and
dude.
died.
Fuck, dude.
A guy who his brother was drowning and he was trying to pull him out of a river and he couldn't do it, so the brother kicked off and drowned in front of him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A mother whose son had tried to kill himself and the son was in a coma for a very long time.
Wow.
And she just sat there by his side, and when she came home, she was so fucked up by it. She went from never doing anything to mainlining heroin.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And I like these stories are, I mean,
Story after story after
everyone
story after
has
story.
something.
Yeah.
And so personally, right, to loop it all back, I had to look at what my thing was and what I totally understand why I would have dropped out. Of course, the first time I drank, I was like, oh, normal. Okay, I'm not this kid who's getting abused and is different, having a very different experience than all the moneyed, like, white American kids that I grew up with in my, goofy suburb. The first time I'm drinking, I'm like, oh, this is what easy feels like. And
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
And it's a reprieve. It feels blissful. It feels like a hug. It feels like connection in a weird way. Yeah.
And and not worried. For once not worried. Holy fucking shit, for once not worried. So when I exercise that, an understanding and a forgiveness with myself, right? I have to. Yeah. To live. And also it just checks out. I know my life. I can look at my life. There it was.
Here.
So when I'm I'm watching someone die, who there's highs and deep lows, I think about the life that bitch survived. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's probably really tough.
It was. She was on a list to be executed in Iran for being a feminist. She raised 3 kids without a husband. Like, Jesus Christ. She was raised kidnapped in the first place because when her father died, she went to her father's parents. Instead of her mother. Her mother and her grandmother kidnapped her, raised her kidnapped. She had a storied life.
Right.
And like, and then to single motherhood in general. Jesus Christ.
Oh, moms deserve a lot of credit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's a crazy making
single
job.
moms. And then your mom had your dad yelling at her like she can't get anything right.
God damn it.
And that's going to make somebody rageful or angry or want to take that out and you don't know why and where this is coming from.
And she's this educated, hyper articulate feminist, who put up with no shit, but as I'm sure both of you know, when you go out there and you're like, and you fight back at a world that sucks shit, it swings back. It swings back. Yeah. You don't just so
they're going to try to kill your
throw
spirit.
punches and win all the time. No.
Is that why she landed in America? Because she was a feminist and she had to
got
escape?
us the fuck out of there. It was the height of the Iran-Iraq War. I mean, not the Iran-Iraq War. That was when I went back. It was the height of the Iranian Revolution. She was on a list to be executed. My brother went to school, assembled a gun, came back, was like, I assembled my gun the fastest. She was like, we're out of here.
So interesting. I just read the last week the intro. The Iranian revolution and how there was a picture from the 70s of Iranian women on the beach with no covering in a bikini, and I was like,
"Do you want to see pictures of my mother?"
Yes. But I was like, I was so shocked. I was like, I've never seen an Iranian woman. That's incredible. And they were having the best fucking time. It looked like in the photo, laughing with their friends. And then when the Iranian Revolution happened, this piece of shit leader, dictator.
Sure. I mean, Islamic fundamentalists. I mean, radical religious fundamentalists, which, the first thing they do is they dismantle education. I mean, the whole MAGA movement was such an echo of that.
Really?
Of course it was.
Right, that makes sense.
Like they are rallying the disenfranchised and uneducated and sort of spurring them into brutality to overturn a government, to seize power.
Yeah. This fucking planet.
Yeah. And then plunge the country into a dark age.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
So how did you feel like by the time your mom was passing away, like had you talked to her and had an actual conversation of like, hey, I love you. Shit was tough.
Oh yeah. I got to say that to her as she died. And
wow.
as she was dying, I was like singing to her. I was reading to her. I was like recounting her life.
Oh,
I was leading
wow.
conversations with my brothers about like, do you remember this? Do you remember that? I wanted to make sure, because do you know what else it is? And I say that our switchboard operator, sound man, good person. He's wearing a dead shirt. I always think of hallucination. Are you a tripper? You take acid?
I was
That's
for
my
a
boy.
long
That's
time.
my boy.
Yeah.
That's my boy. So being an acid and mushroom person, being a psychonaut, I think I had like a particular sensitivity to the climate of the room as she lay dying. So I was like
Nice.
very vibe oriented.
Good, good.
I was like, keep the vibe right. Keep
yeah,
the vibe
low
right.
lights,
Right?
nice music.
It really was.
It matters
was
though.
that.
Death doulas do that for
Yeah.
people.
So it was sort of what we did.
When she actually passed, like, did you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's got to be like. I've only been I've held a pet while it passed away, and you do feel this like you do feel the light leaving.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
Well, and literally, like the
Wild.
skin stops reflecting light.
oh wow,
Right?
Wow, wow.
We are by our nature luminous.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like when
Yeah.
when the skin when the skin just absorbs light and doesn't reflect it anymore.
Ooh,
It's like
that means your
turning it
spirit's
off.
gone.
Yeah.
It's turned
Like it's like a
off.
hotel light when like the light lives in the switch.
Right,
Yes.
right. Yes.
That effect. So it was a crazy thing. It was just a crazy thing to do and be a part of. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you went to that original rehab, was it a one and done thing? Like, did that set you on the right track?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
amazing.
Now, it's like 2 years, 8 months.
Amazing.
How many
Yeah.
days was that rehab? 30?
It was supposed to be 30, but Omicron. It was during the Omicron outbreak.
the variant, yeah.
And so literally like 80% of the campus had Omicron.
Jesus.
And I kept testing negative.
Yeah.
And so they were like, you got to get out of here. This
Right,
is
'cause you're gonna
basically-
get it.
This is a quarantine rehab now.
Wow.
And so I was sent home at 21 days.
Okay.
On January 6th, the anniversary. Oh. The anniversary of the insurrection.
Nice.
Yeah.
Life's poetry,
It
man.
really was. It was poetic.
So what did that rehab teach you that like stuck with you that is like those, because I know they all say in sobriety, like the moment where shit hits the fan when you don't turn to the substance, that's how you know you're sober. When things going great, it's easy not to use, right?
Yeah.
But when shit hits the fan, it's tricky. So
That's
like,
very interesting.
Do you have anything that you carry with you that you learned from that rehab that you're like, I'll never go back?
Oh, so much. I mean, like, I knew that it was a springboard for sobriety. Like, I knew that it was, I needed a kickstart. It wasn't
Yeah.
going to be enough for me to just like, because as comics also, we have a way of like thinking around a room. And if we fault find, it's dead. We've built 5 minutes of how like absolutely irredeemable something is.
Yeah.
And so if I had gone to AA like as myself, as like an active user,
Yeah.
which I did once, and I went in there and I was like, this sucks, that sucks. This is an MLM meeting. I'm the fuck out of here later.
Yeah.
So I knew I needed a kickstart, and it was really neat. It was good to be there with people who like, the other thing is like, I like a bona fide, like I don't need like a wine mom.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I need like a dealer who's avoiding jail.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah,
the girl
yeah.
who has like the home,
ankle bracelet?
the ankle
Yeah.
bracelet, the 9. Like I need, that's
A
who I want.
sobriety meeting in New York City is amazing.
It's
I went to a
amazing.
Narcotics Anonymous meetings before, and I'm like, wow, this is New York's best. This is
It is
fucking
New York's best.
fantastic.
I love them. I love
Yeah.
them with my entire spirit. Like addicts are absolutely my people.
Yeah, yeah. Corinne's too.
Yeah.
But that's dating.
Yeah.
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 Really? What is it?
I don't know. I'm like actually pretty deeply angry at addicts. Not you personally. But,
No.
But like it transitioned into like I used to consistently date addicts, and I have like a lot of anger that I harbor towards them that I'm working through. Though.
Well, no, I mean it's a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing, and
especially being in comedy constantly. You're like, okay, well, how many addicts can I deal with? I'm kind of good.
oh, I mean, I don't know how much I would say on camera, but there's like a lot to say around that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think one of the things that you come to realize that was important for me is I would always like talk my way around it. It's like, but I'm not like in the ditch drunk, which I think a lot of like when people were like, oh, you went to rehab, you didn't strike me as the one who needed help.
Yeah,
you weren't
I got a lot of that.
Right.
I got a lot of that.
You weren't the one falling over.
No, you were the colorful life of the party guy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really that like, you know if you have the problem and that you have it in a way that the average Joe doesn't. Like I would never stop drinking. People who don't have a problem with drugs and alcohol, they can
dabble.
Right? Like people who are compulsive overeaters. You know what I mean? Like if you have compulsive overeating, you are a bottomless pit that can just eat and eat and eat. And there are people who like absolutely leave half their food on their plate.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean? There is a distinct...
Yeah. One, you have a gaping hole in your heart.
Right.
Exactly. And you're trying to fill it and fill it and
with
fill it.
anything.
And with addiction, like you fuck up the lives of those around you a lot of the time, or you make the lives of those around you worse. And it's like, the trickiest thing that I found is like you have to fight to have compassion for yourself when all the people you love don't have compassion for you because they're pissed. And you're like, this is a hell.
So a friend of mine, Maddie Corman, she has this amazing documentary called Accidentally Brave. Her husband was busted with child porn.
Ooh, goddamn.
He was a known director in Hollywood.
Okay.
And he went to rehab to deal with like his sex stuff.
See, going back to our intro,
I was going to say
that's
the ringer. Yeah, there was
the
a
ringer.
girl email said she was cheated on 2 years ago.
We're
and
doing
she was
a
put
call
through the ringer.
We're doing a call back to someone who wrote in the intro.
We're like, that's what fucked you up.
That's the ringer.
And
babe.
So like, which left my friend Maddie like holding the kids, all the fucking drama. Now she's making, you know what I mean? Like the world like landed on her face, and then
and you got to re-examine your whole marriage, man.
There's this unbelievable line in her one-woman show, which Steven Soderbergh produced into a thing. It's brilliant. He filmed it. There's this line that he said, "I drove over you." Her husband said this to her later. "I drove over you with the car, wondered what happened, backed up, drove over you again, got out of the car, and called an ambulance for myself." Ugh. And that's a little bit of what rehab is, right? Like you damage these lives, but you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, man.
And it's not.
And
it
shame
not
makes you want to do the
uncomplicated.
thing more. Shame makes you want to do the substance more. That's the whole fucking point, is the shame and the loneliness. Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about all of a sudden I left Noah, just a few days before Christmas. And he had to go and handle Christmas for both of our families. He had to handle our dog. I left with an hour and a half's notice. I didn't leave like there was no great build up to it. It was
You just like felt like at this moment I have to leave now.
I called my friend who had connections at rehab.
Addicts are real spontaneous.
Right? It was like, tink, I hit one domino. She made a phone call. She said, "Oh, they're dropping someone off in upstate. They'll pick you up on the way back." I thought I might have had 5-6 hours. I had an hour and 5 minutes.
Jesus.
Like to pack, say my goodbyes. And I was on 3 Ambien, 4 Xanax, and a bottle and a half of rosé.
Jesus.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Glad you went.
Just trying to sleep.
I'm more impressed that you could pack on that.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's amazing. You are a tank.
Thanks.
You are a tank.
Thanks.
Wow.
Don't miss it. And that's the best part, is I genuinely don't miss it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy like your life and your relationship, right?
Well, it's like I'm in better health.
Yeah.
I don't mind a mirror so much anymore.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
And your relationship with Noah is probably, he wasn't dating a
Night and day.
person when you were on like so far gone, was he?
He was, and he
Or you were
drank with me.
functioning?
He absolutely drank with me.
Okay, yeah.
Not like I drank, and certainly didn't turn into the monster the way I turned into the monster.
How would you turn into a monster?
Sometimes you just want to fight.
Oh.
Don't you just sometimes want to
because there's
fight?
this built-up rage and you don't know what to do with it.
And the closest person to you is the safest person to take it out on.
Yeah,
and
which is so
I wasn't,
tragic.
and I wouldn't say that I was abusive toward Noah. It would just be like, sometimes I would be like, like
Yeah.
it would be a normal marital conflict that would otherwise be served by a conversation.
Yeah.
Instead, I met it with like resentment and blame.
Yeah.
And he
right.
never threatened to leave throughout any of this?
No.
It was never even discussed?
No, he was.
Interesting.
I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I was bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't
You weren't
like
you weren't
The
like
bad was
physically
more
abusive, you
inside
weren't-
than outside?
I certainly took it out on myself harder than I took it out on
Yeah.
others. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was one of those. That's a for sure. That's a for sure.
Yeah. So steam rooms.
But that's a gift of sobriety.
steam rooms?
Is being someone who can take exercise, which was never a possibility in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Now I'm like feeling a little more physically confident.
Nice. That's the best.
Right? Isn't it wonderful?
Feeling good in your body.
Right? Like
a
not
gift.
since I was taking ecstasy as a 19-year-old.
Right.
Have I felt this like ready to throw my pants off.
Yeah. That's
Right?
great.
Isn't that a nice thing?
That's nice.
Isn't that a nice
and
thing?
you feel like strong in your body. You feel
Hell
like
yeah.
you appreciate your body because you're being kind to it.
I can look at someone and think, lucky you.
Yeah.
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 Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that a nice feeling?
Yeah.
Right? Which never.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Never. And so, yeah, I don't know why I brought up steam rooms, but steam room culture, God damn it.
What is steam room
no
culture?
one told me.
So like fucking in steam rooms?
Men be
Yeah.
doing straight dudes.
Straight dudes?
Yes.
Well, I mean, they're not straight.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I think everyone's gay. This is a
I do too.
This is a constant conversation that we have on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like I'm always calling. I'm like, people will write in this long email about like, did I change my haircut? Is that why he doesn't like me? I'm like, I think he just likes penises. Is the issue here?
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's not like an up or down. It's not a hierarchical. It's like it's not good or evil.
Right.
No,
It
it's just the
penis.
facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is steam room culture? Like just
It's
men
like
just be fucking in there?
they do be fucking. There's a lot of
lot of them?
giving myself a boner and then presenting it.
Oh, present.
This is not what I do. I am the gentler sex at the end of the day. I'm made to be wooed and not to woo.
Okay.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Female energy. Yeah.
I do. I have female energy
Yeah.
and
Or feminine energy.
Feminine energy.
or just receptive, and also it could just be like the tattered remains of a destroyed self-esteem, where I
a woman.
need,
Same diff.
right?
Same diff.
God damn us, God damn life. I want that initial affirmation of the person, right? Like
Yeah. Like I'm
flashing me the dick, being
Right.
like, I choose, like I choose, right? Pikachu, I choose you.
Yeah.
It is that. It's
So
that.
so do you
Pikachu.
no Dickachu.
Right? Thank you.
Cockachoo.
Cockachoo.
I like
Right?
that one. So then you go to these steam rooms. Then it's now just these.
It's not steam rooms. It's just the one at my gym. I'm not like an aficionado.
Oh, they're
I
fucking
don't.
at the one in the
I don't
gym,
tour.
not like a steam room place.
No,
like a
okay,
bathhouse.
like a bathhouse.
That's what I was thinking. They're fucking in the gym steam
no,
room.
the gym.
Yeah, I
Wait,
heard there
that's
was a
rude.
New York
That's
sports
rude.
I
club
know.
on 23rd Street that had to get shut down because of this shit.
What
That's
happened?
so rude.
I said there was a New York sports club on 23rd Street that had to get shut down.
The
because-
whole club got shut down.
I mean, I think just the steam room, but it was like because I'm a member of. Well,
Can't take men
I
anywhere.
was the one by me changed now, but for many years I was a New York sports club member. Yeah, and specifically the one that I went to in college on 23rd Street. That was a big steam room gay scene in that specific New York
Yes.
sports club.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's not every time. And the thing is, I actually like a steam.
Esteem's
because
so good for you.
I'm
It's good
injured
detox.
all over my body from
Yeah.
lifting. I'm injured all over so I literally want the muscle to get warm.
Yeah.
So that I can like do the physical rehabby things.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the steam room literally doing ugly like arm bends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily in there like do.
Right. Well, sometimes the steam is so thick you can't really see if there's a guy on the other side of that steam or
Yeah,
not.
you can.
Oh wow.
Because
a little mystery.
it leads.
It's like a 1980s music video.
Pokes through. It's
Thriller.
Like, it's like Harry Potter. It's very. It's a Patronus. It's a right. It's a Baltron.
Have you had a guy peek their dick out at you in a steam room?
So many.
And what do you do? When you're like, no, thank
like
you.
I grab like I don't. This is the thing. I think I have to unpack this. Not all the time. Certainly not all the time. Although I am like, it really does get you in touch with how big a slut you are. Because it's never no, right? I don't think I say no to sex.
Right.
Is that weird?
No. I mean, have you ever had sex and you regret it?
I can give someone vibes like it's never going to happen. Like,
Right.
don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I will preempt it.
But you're like you got like a little kitty cat vibe to you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know?
It's sexual compulsivity, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Damn,
There are
if you're-
people who
if
go
you're
to
not-
rehab
harming
just
you.
for this.
Sure, but if you don't feel like it's causing you harm,
I
then
don't
fuck
think it is.
Then it doesn't matter.
I don't think it is.
Sex is in the hierarchy of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Absolutely.
Physical touch is very important.
All the time.
Especially if you've had a traumatic
all
childhood.
the time.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh my God, yeah.
As in,
Yeah, that's why there's all these studies about how sleep training your baby is like so bad, because when your baby's crying, like it needs to know that it can trust that you're going to give skin to skin contact soon. And all these parents are trained to just like let their kid cry because they're just trying their best and they assume that it's right and it's fucking all the kids up.
Yeah, I've gotten bad parenting advice before.
Yeah. Well, speaking of parents, you were thinking
We're doing that. We're unpacking everything. This is Machine Gun. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Noah and I are now playing with like having a baby.
That's so cool. So like, what are the things that you consider when you think about it?
So
How do you weigh this decision?
the first off, like fundamentally selfish creature, need an inordinate amount of like me time.
Yeah.
In order to have my battery charged to be able to do what we do.
Yes.
How are you guys with that?
I have a partner, but like I need time by myself, like 24 hours a week at least, by myself.
Yeah.
To recharge, to exactly what you
Only
said.
24 hours? I need so much more than
So
that.
much more than
I
that.
would like more than that.
Yeah.
If I could
Yeah,
get 3 days, that would be ideal. But like, I at least need a day, or I will fucking explode.
Like up to and including like sleep. Like I'm very like I'm a big sleep baby. If like
Yeah.
I get 5.5 hours because something happened,
Oh, I'm a mess.
like the day is a wash.
Yeah, no one wants to be around
The
me.
day is a wash. And there,
annoying.
like, if you're going to go into having a kid, there is the perfect knowledge that you are not
Sleep
sleeping for
deprived.
the next 3 years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just not your
3
life.
years. Ugh.
That's just not your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they get
Right.
up so goddamn early.
And they need.
Well, and they get up, and then when they're very babies, you have to get up every 2 hours and feed them.
That's
Yeah.
right. Feed them, burp them, play
Yeah.
with them, put
Yeah.
them
Yeah,
back.
touch them. Yeah, make sure they're
and then
getting skin
you
to
get
skin.
a short shift of rest.
Yeah.
Right?
That's-
So
That's
it
crazy.
is like every parent you see is someone who.
Yeah, they look hungover.
Yeah.
But they don't have the glory of doing the substance.
And it's one thing when you approach the prospect of that in your 20s or in your 30s.
Right.
But I'm on the tail end of my 40s.
Right. Oh, wow.
Right?
You look amazing.
I'll kill you. I love you so much. No, she's 48, right?
Right.
So let's say I started the process of surrogacy today,
Yeah.
right? It's first of all, it has turned me into the worst man in the book because I'm like looking at women and I'm like harvest
Yeah.
their eggs like an insect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's very.
Her face is kind of crooked, not
It's
her.
mantis. It's like how much like how did your mother put on weight as she aged? And like is your father tall? How bald is he? Like it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. And so let's say you find an egg donor. There's a whole process. There's genetic screening. There's the hormone cycle that this person has to go through.
Right.
Yada, yada. Obviously compensate them to ribbons.
Yeah, but is the egg donor also carrying the baby, or is that two separate chicks?
Cannot. Not in the state of New York.
What?
Not in the state of New York. Your surrogate has to be someone who has already had a baby
Interesting.
themselves. They as in it can't be their first one.
It's to detach from being
the
maternal.
process.
Yeah,
And it's like
smart.
based on what we know. It is based on what we know. It's
Yeah.
not
I
based on like
see.
random arbitrary shit.
No,
Right.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And then finding a surrogate is the harder part. And they
Right.
say it can take like 6 months to 9 months to just find someone who's willing to carry your baby.
Yeah.
Right.
And then implanting and does it catch?
does it- right.
And then so you're looking at
That's a lot of
like a
Years.
year and a half to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So I start today. I'm 50 some odd
Yeah.
when I have a kid.
Yeah.
I'm 68 at high school graduation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you just have to.
And for the record, that like those early 50s, I didn't sleep. Remember those?
Right,
Remember your
right,
early
right,
50s when you
right.
didn't sleep, Mehran? Like I will
Yes.
age. I will age like milk. And
Right.
So
I think this is going to be more common, though. I think there's going to be a lot more older parents in this generation.
Well, God, I live in the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
And it's like a bunch of like 70-year-old like nebbishy
With high
men
school
with like
kids. Yeah.
Jamaican nannies and like a hot wife. It's like it's a lot to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to look at. But
who's-
I also don't want to be that.
Right.
I don't want to be
Right,
that.
but at the same time, I will say, like, the people that are older parents, like, I witnessed a lot of older parents in my day, all New Yorkers, and they have a groundedness that, like, their kid does something crazy, they don't freak out. And it's like, wait, that's an option? You can, like, not freak out when you're like I babysat for an Upper East Side family, and I think she had her first child when she was 40 or 41, and then the kid was like 11 or something, but they were so chill. I was shocked at how chill they were.
The prospect of being a lovely parent is lovely.
Yeah.
And I am not sure that when the rubber hits the road that I'm going to be that enlightened parent. I could be,
Who knows?
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the first time that kid is like, no, Dad,
Can't tell me what to do.
You can't, or
You're an asshole.
I have one of my best friends, her son was growing up conservative.
Oh.
Like she's
Weird.
a goddamn hippie
Whoa.
to the core.
Wow.
Right? And she made a kid who it was Andrew Tate,
Wow.
who like gravitated toward like shitty conservative TikTok.
Wow.
What happens when my kid comes home with that garbage?
That seems like rebellion. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
going to kill I would kill. I mean,
Right.
do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
all I want to do is raise a female assassin. That is my
wow.
That sounds
singular
fun.
life mission.
Wow.
Raise like a polyglot female assassin, knows how to fire.
Ooh.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actual
Yeah.
dangerous woman, like actual dangerous woman.
Yes,
that is
like
my goal.
Tomb Raider.
I think this is very possible.
Right? And I
You would know
could.
could do
I
that.
know I could. But then here we are being a prescriptive parent who is not especially
I know.
progressive.
I want
who
a
is
gay
not
son
go
with
the flow.
glasses so bad.
Right? You want a gay
I want a
son?
gay son with glasses when he needs glasses when he's like 3.
Yeah, it would be the
And he's
gayest
smarter than me.
child.
He's
Either
like-
one of you
He's
shouldn't make a boy.
wiser than me.
These are very specific. I've
know.
never thought about wanting anything. I just said a girl, and that was it.
I would
don't
love
want
it.
I don't want kids though, but yeah.
I could see you being a lovely, both of you. I mean, genuinely.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, my partner's almost 50, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I mean,
Do you wanna
if you
squeeze one
want,
out?
yeah, I would.
Good for you.
Yeah, I would.
That's wild. If I could, I would.
I would love to.
50 for a man is like 22.
yeah.
Girly, like in theory, yes, but the body, it's
Oh,
like,
no. They're crusty as hell.
I'm like the
no.
arm. I do
I'm
this
saying, but
with
just
my
like
arm in a steam room.
Society, no one cares.
Yeah.
People, you have to be like 75 for someone to say you're too old to be a dad. But when a woman
Jesus.
when a
You
woman
have to be
gives
Michael Douglas.
birth at 40, like people were telling Kourtney Kardashian that she was irresponsible, and I'm like,
Whoa.
one of the least
The
irresponsible.
nerve.
When you're that rich, it's
Rich.
the most responsible
100%.
thing to do is
100%.
have kids, like because you have the money to do so.
Yeah, and I mean, ostensibly, we would get nanny.
Yeah.
We would do
Yeah.
whose
Whose sperm would you use?
we want twins, so we would do 2 surrogates.
Wow.
We would do.
Oh my God,
one
you
egg,
can
2
make
surrogates.
twins on purpose?
Yes.
Wow.
One of his, one of mine.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah, we would like look for a Middle Eastern girl.
Oh, that's so
So
special.
that
Oh
like there's right.
my God, you should.
This is like Build-A-Bear.
I'm like,
It
oh,
is,
I
and
have a
that's
friend.
but there's something sinister about
Oh, there is. Yeah.
about its
Yes.
like kind of design.
I think there's a
Designer
lot of
baby.
interesting morality questions regarding parenthood, both when it's manufactured or natural. I think it's a huge question, like discussion that people don't have. As far as like, I think it's like Sarah Silverman didn't have kids because of her severe depression, and I loved that she had that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 plus years ago, she had that conversation, and it really stuck with me. And my therapist always tells me, she's like, you've spent more time thinking about whether or not you want kids than like anyone I know, and you don't really seem to want kids. And I was like, and there you go. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you really sit and think about it, there's so much to consider.
Why do
It
you
is-
want kids?
Genuinely, when I have a hysterical womb, right? I do. I have a
Hysterical
a
womb?
hysterical womb, which is a double up, right?
Mother hunger.
Right? As in,
mother
like,
hunger.
I feel it's a migrating womb. I do. I have a migrating womb. And I see babies and I want to put their whole heads in my mouth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never had
I do.
this.
I love a bit. I love a piece of baby.
A fresh baby on the
I
streets.
love-
You're
I
like,
love a- yeah.
I saw one yesterday. I'm like, look at the fucking
I do. I love a baby, and I love the idea of like there is. So, are you familiar with the ACE test?
Oh yes,
Right?
got a lot of them.
Wait, what's the ACE
Adverse childhood experiences test.
I'm not.
And so it is a 10 question
Divorce, jail, mental illness. Yeah.
hunger.
Where do
like,
you get
food.
this?
It's
Online?
you can see it, online.
yeah.
10
Is there-
questions.
is there a
takes you,
QR code?
It takes you about it'll take you 2 minutes. NPR
Yeah.
has one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's literally 10 yes or no questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you could be an ACE 1, an ACE 2, depending on how many yeses you have.
Okay.
Right? 4+ doesn't matter. As in, once you hit 4+,
Yeah, you might as well have 8.
You're fucked.
you might as well have 8, which
Yeah.
is my number.
Okay.
So, but 4+ are marked by hypertension, diabetes, absenteeism from work and school, getting fired, divorce, addiction, obesity. Like it's nuts
Yeah.
how exponentially the likelihood of these things goes up.
Oh, wow.
When you're a 4+.
Yeah.
The idea of being able to bring a kid into the world, knowing all I have to do is dodge 10 things.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I have to
Yeah.
do is dodge 10 things.
Yeah.
And this kid has a chance at its best life.
Yes.
That is exciting to me.
That's one of
great way
the
to think
things that
about
pisses me the most off about kids though, because especially we're all going to therapy now, so it's like I almost don't know anyone who doesn't have like a big problem with at least one of their parents. And to go through all this and then get just a ton of negative feedback, I think would piss me the fuck off.
Oh my God.
And
And
you mean? Or yeah.
And they
right.
will. They will blame you for everything
sure.
that's
Yeah.
wrong.
And so I would go
Yeah.
into it knowing that I would be blamed, and I go, but then why am I doing this?
Why are we doing this?
But I
Yeah.
think ultimately, I think when like where I am and where you are, it sounds too like you grow up, you go, oh fuck, this happened, this was awful, fuck you, mom and dad, and and then you go, wait, but you had it worse than me, so you actually didn't do that bad of a job considering the shit you went through. So then there's not blame, but there is blame for a second. But then you realize, I think like actually healing is going, don't blame her.
I do.
You could have done better, yes, and you fucked me up, yes. But like, would I have been different if I went through what you went through?
That's
I
a
don't
very
know.
good question.
I don't
There's
know,
like
man.
years
know.
of volatility in that I don't need to
True,
really
it's
be
true.
putting up with.
When I'm able to trace the misgiving or the wrongdoing, the harm to ego, I become less forgiving.
Right.
When I
right,
see
right,
that like
right.
that it was that it's causal by way of a suffering that they endured, I'm okay with it. But when it's about like protecting pride or dignity or this
Controlling,
other thing,
yeah.
I become less forgiving. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe
I
wrongly,
hear you.
maybe
Yeah.
wrongly.
No, I think that makes sense. Anytime there like people chose like society and not feeling shame or embarrassment over the welfare of their kids, any story like that deeply upsets me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it is exciting to like work on yourself and then go, oh shit. Like I think the point of having a kid is just to usher them into the world and be the best support system and like help you get to know yourself and teach you about things in life. But like whoever you're going to become, let's go. Let's figure it out.
I love the idea of that. But here's the reality. Okay, so mother passed. My brother tried to disinherit me.
What?
Biggest piece of shit in the entire world.
Oh my
God,
My brother,
Mehran,
who
I'm so
literally
sorry.
abused me my entire life, tried to disinherit me.
Jesus
manipulated
Christ.
our mother's finances while she lived.
Oh my
was just a piece of
God.
garbage, right?
Oh, it's tough.
So I had to sue him.
Oh, it's tough.
Right. And in the process, I have to talk to this guy who is, again, deep sympathy. I think he has some like autism that never saw
Fuck.
the light of day to like actually like be able to massage him into a more sensitive person, a more aware person, a better sort of socialized person.
Yeah.
He didn't get that. But in the process, I had to deal with this person. I had to negotiate a settlement with this person. And it was deeply triggering. Like deeply, profoundly triggering. You talked about like, you know, like, do you pick up when the shit hits the fan? There was a day where I got off the phone with him and I popped open a bottle of wine that was left over from hosting people during Christmas that I hadn't even looked at. I hadn't looked at ever. And I popped it and I huffed it. I sniffed it like, and then dumped it in the sink. Like,
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a terms of endearment, like
No.
big dramatic faggoty moment, but it was.
No, the amount of times I've poured pills down a toilet, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is for the best. Yeah. And then you want to fish them out afterwards, and you're like, that's pathetic.
But it's like, so I have this idea of like who I would be as a parent, untriggered, right?
Untriggered.
Who I would be perfect. Who I would be, right?
Yeah.
But like, take a snapshot of me from that day in March.
Yeah.
When I was like,
On the phone, after the phone call.
just, right? Just mad. Really and truly mad. Then like,
you handled it.
add a kid to that, and it's a bad situation.
Right.
Right? All of a sudden,
You're a
he's
human
an ace
being.
one.
Yeah, right.
Right? Now he's an ace one. Now she's an ace one. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
But the other thing
I need
too
to
is
look up what's ACE.
So an adverse childhood experience, an example could be one parent going to jail, your parent separating, a parent with mental illness or addiction is one of them. There's a bunch. Why can't I remember? I have like, I think I
made
had
to feel worthless in
4
the
or 5.
home.
Yeah, I had like 5, I think. I didn't know the rule about the 4 thing. That's very interesting.
Yeah, 4 pluses.
But I think that part of the reason why I'm still...
And by the way, 4 pluses,
Yeah.
like I clock them like that.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
when
yeah.
I'm talking to someone who is suffering family, and I
Yeah.
know when I'm talking to someone who, you know, God bless them, they are low
got out
resistance
alive.
people.
Yeah.
They are. It just didn't.
But I think though that one of the reasons why I'm still like, I still carry like behaviors from my scarring, the trauma that I have had, is because it was denied by the parent. The parent like made me feel so stupid for bringing it up, and like, but you are so self-actualized that if you found yourself going over the line and going, oh my God, I just accidentally smacked you in the face, for example. I mean, I got spanked all the time,
Yeah.
but like, you can then do the work to repair that with your child and repair trust.
Yeah.
So you could have an ace, but then I think you could probably undo it.
And the specifically like the social science around the adverse childhood experiences test and all of that, it does actually accommodate for, like, you know, the person might have gone through a whole series of adverse childhood experiences, childhood traumas, but then they might have found a chosen family,
Right.
that knocked it out of the park, that like reparented them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
This
And
podcast.
that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to read this just because, like, when we're talking, I did not ever even heard of this test, which is weird for.
I like proselytize it. I'd like try to.
Well, no, I'm interested. So I found it. I wanted to go through the questions. I mean, so number 1 is: did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Or B, act in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt? 2 is: did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you, or ever hit you so hard that you had marks or were injured? 3, did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you, or have you touch their body in a sexual way? Or B, attempt or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal intercourse with
Brutal,
you?
isn't it?
4, did you often or very often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? Or B, your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other?
I'm 4 for 4 right now.
I'm at 0.
Okay, that's great.
That makes sense.
5, did you and I'm also like, just, I mean, like, this is so heavy.
Yeah. That's why we take pills.
Did you often or very often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, and had no one to protect you? Or B, your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or take you to the doctor if you needed? 6, were your parents ever separated or divorced? 7, was your parent caregiver A, often or very often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at him or her? Or B, sometimes, often, or very often kicked, bitten, hit with a fist, or hit with something hard? It's interesting the detail they're going into too. Or C, ever repeatedly hit over at least a few minutes or threatened with a gun or knife? 8, did you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic or who used street drugs? 9, was a household member depressed or mentally ill, or did a household member attempt suicide? And 10, did a household member go to prison?
6, baby. What's
9.
your score?
I'm sorry, it was a 9.
Dude. 9.
No one
man.
went to prison.
But that's crazy that a 4 and up is just fuck it.
Yeah, it's 4 and up
That's
is fuck
so
it. 4 and up is fuck it. And it's bizarre / no surprise that, because now I am 48 doll, right? So I can look back at the friends that I've collected over time and there isn't a 4- among them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My close friends are 4+, the house down with the exception of one.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the people.
Who just jumped
That's
in my
very
head.
interesting because I'm like, I always wonder about friends. I'm like, one of my best, I don't know. One of my best friends definitely is below 4 for sure. I mean, mine is 0 or 1, but I'm not sure. Because I feel like my dad probably did have depression, but I don't want to diagnose him because he's deceased. I would say yes, but undiagnosed, but it's
That's
one.
a terrible
but
thing. Losing your
undiagnosed
father. I'm
sucks.
sorry
It's
that
one
happened.
or fucking sucked, but it's okay. It's like 1 or 0. I'm gonna say 1. I feel
Okay.
but then I'm like, his mental health didn't affect me at all, so maybe it's 0. I feel like the parent's mental health would have to have negatively impacted you. I don't know. I'm just answering the question at face value. I would say 1.
1.
Yeah.
And 1 is, ones typically do all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. So this doesn't require a response.
Yeah.
But knowing that there are that you might be dealing with a 4+ who then might end up becoming an addict.
Yeah.
Does that color your anger toward them at all?
Oh, I mean, I know all this to be true.
Yeah.
I've have a lot of empathy, but at a certain point, the empathy it runs out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like a constant, and I find it almost more when people get better that it's still like. So even when you're better, you're still always an addict, right? So it's this constant maintenance. And I think that's the part where my anger actually shows up because you go, even though you're better, it's still, you're the first priority in every situation, your sobriety.
How long?
That's the part that
is
pisses
that a
me
How
better
off.
long do you
addict,
have
though?
people who are sober? How much sobriety do they have?
I mean, we're going from 1 year to 10+ years.
Wow. I will say
And that's
that
the part that makes me mad, I think. So I go, so it's always going to be about you first.
my first
like a
year,
narcissist.
my first year was difficult. It was difficult,
For sure.
just knowing
In what ways?
that at some point I just had to be like, this is a fundamentally selfish process. Recovery
Right.
is selfish.
Yeah.
And I have to shelf whatever kind of guilt or apprehension I have about recovery that has static with that selfishness. And this is going to be selfish and I have to take care of myself because I will never give the people in my life, the ones that I love, they will never get the best of me.
Right.
They will never get the best of me if I don't take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like if an addict is still behaving selfishly, then they're not giving the people in their life the best of them, right? That's not.
And there
Are they over the addiction, or do they have a gripe with being sober? Something like that?
Wait, I actually am distracted now. Sorry, I
please.
just thought of something that I think should be on here because I was trying to think
death.
What was the most death for
Right?
for sure. I didn't experience that in childhood though. So what was the most? I'm trying to think what was the most profound thing that affected me that's not listed here. So they ask was a member of your household depressed or mentally ill? They don't ask was a parent chronically ill, and I feel like looking at my childhood, chronic film. I had one parent who was chronically physically ill, and I think that had the most profound impact on the house, and that's not listed here. So that's
That is interesting.
I would probably add that. Yeah, they should add that because physical illness or being in chronic pain,
or
that
what
is something. But I wonder if they somehow that doesn't bleed into the idea, not mental illness,
Right.
but as in this colors their life experience into a more difficult one. Right?
Because mental illness, a child can internalize it, but a physical illness, I don't think a child would internalize. It's my fault that my parent's physically ill, unless the parent was like, "This is your fault."
No, it's not your fault. It shows up in, I think, what you're prepared to deal with in relationships, though. So, I mean, in a
Interesting.
different way. And also another thing, I had a friend in high school who had a brother with severe autism. So, growing up in a household where you have a sibling with kind of a
High needs,
high
Has the spotlight all the time.
Yeah, I think that's another one that I'm trying to think of people
Yeah,
who
that's true.
really profoundly
Absolutely.
A sick sibling or somebody who has needs that are higher. Yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
know
gotta
a lot
fuck
of
you up.
actually. I know
That's
several
gotta
people
fuck
with
you up.
really sick siblings, and that's. I mean,
Doesn't sound
even
fun.
the documentary that we.
Oh, about the Anna Steubenfeld?
Yeah,
With the brother?
yeah. So
yeah.
we were thinking about her brother so much.
Right.
I think of this as like maybe the ACE test questions are a little bit about inflicted.
How do you
Right,
mean,
as in like not necessarily like the ambient temperature of the home, but things that were done.
yeah.
But
the
mental
child.
illness isn't inflicted, I guess, unless because of the way you behave when you are mentally ill.
The way that you might have been treated by a mentally ill parent.
Right.
Believe me, I've dated people with this. It's not
People
fun.
say that like a mentally ill parent can still be a good parent, which I guess is true, but I'm like, you can't. Can you? I don't know.
They have to get help. Did you see the Faye Dunaway documentary on HBO?
No.
It's fire. But she deals with, it's amazing. Like, you're like, God, she's gorgeous.
She's so beautiful.
Like, absolutely stunning. And she used to go to the restaurant next door to ours when I lived in Cambridge. And
Fun.
nobody wanted to wait on her. She was like a known
worst.
terror.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks.
She'd like call people incompetent. She'd call people idiots. Like,
Yeah.
And so in the documentary, she talks about the fact that she came to terms with one, her sobriety, and two, that she was deeply and importantly bipolar. Like,
Oh, wow.
hyper bipolar.
Wow.
And her son is a part of this documentary. And he was like, yeah, it was,
Yeah.
she was this person that
That's-
was
yeah.
difficult to swallow, like a very hard to swallow character.
Yeah, not knowing what parent you're going to get is tough. And I imagine too with illness too, because you don't know when they're going to feel good and when they're not going to feel good. And that has to fuck up a kid in some way to like see a parent suffer, you know, whether it's mental or physical or like
I think,
can't a parent getting cancer.
but again, like
that's going to suck.
getting help.
You right.
Right? Like in
And
the case of Faye
communicating.
Dunaway, she's like, there's medications. She found groups in like the late 90s, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. Like the pursuit of self-betterment.
Yeah.
It allows for a lot more forgiveness than
Right.
just full bore, I'm fucked up and running with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're romanticizing
That is a harder
it.
thing to just live with. You know, here's this person who's just like running with scissors and has no intention of stopping and doesn't think there's anything wrong with it. That's
Yeah, and you try
that
to
is a
say, "Hey,
worse prison.
there's scissors in your hand," and they're like, "No, there's not.
yeah.
There's scissors in your hand." You're like,
This
"All
is
right,
me at
see
my
you never."
best.
Yeah,
You're trying to limit me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
So you know, it's so much less fun than all the blowjobs that we used to talk.
Well, this is like great work though, and I think it's the work. Like people are really like working on themselves in this. Like the past decades that we've been alive. Like I think of my early childhood and how I mean I was a kid, so I didn't know what the scope was on mental health. But how much we're talking about it more is great, and not accepting shit behavior from people and actually making people accountable for their own actions. It's like it's very exciting. I do feel like it is a world that might be more welcoming to children. You know, because it's like encouraging connection instead of
Totally, and
burying it.
There's something sort of there's something neat, and like even in like the language of gender that's happening. It's just like in the beginning, it was like you're asking me to change the way I think and talk, and then I don't know, like 2 years later, it's like, is that the biggest fucking deal in the entire world?
Right.
Yeah.
Just say she.
It's like this person wants you to say something. Just fucking say it.
Yeah, you're not losing if
Like,
you comply.
why do you have to trample this person's inner life? It's a word.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
fucking word.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, are you really dying on that hill? We're doing this.
Right.
But in the beginning, it was like, they is plural.
Right.
It's like, they want a they.
Yeah.
Give the bitch a they.
I'll call
Yeah.
it. We'll give whatever you want. I
Yeah,
don't
you
care.
can have
Yeah.
your they.
I'll call you it.
Yeah,
If you want.
Yeah, it's little things like that. But like even that is an adjustment. Like the
Yeah.
very knowledge of like we're gonna let people self-express.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
it feels like if the people who are like annoyed, even still, by like, oh, trans doesn't exist, whatever the fuck, the trans issue is perfect because it's like, it feels like, oh, you're gonna have to I gotta call you what? It's because they don't have room for compassion in themselves. Then how are they expected to have compassion towards somebody else who knows themselves, who's self-actualized, who did the work to go, you know what, this is who I am and I'm gonna tell you. I feel like a person that won't allow themselves to do that is gonna be pissed off, but they're slowly dying. They're being extinct.
And I think that like, you know, God willing, with a little change in leadership.
Right.
Right? With a little change in leadership, we might see people like get a little less feedback that's like, by all means, be a prick.
Right.
You know, a
would
little
be so
less
cool.
repetition of that messaging would be lovely.
It's fun to be nice or kind. It's
does-
like, it feels good.
Honest to God. And mind you, I did get back on Facebook recently just for fun.
Whoa.
Just for fun.
Risky.
Just for fun. Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Just for fun.
Sounds like a terrible time.
Well, no, I mean, I went there to pick fights with conservatives. I went there, I went
So
there
just for
to,
fun.
it was
Yeah,
just for fun.
literally
It was
just for fun.
not every day can go to Serenity.
Right, you're
my
right,
fellow
you're right.
addicts. Not
You're
every
right.
day is for Serenity. So so I went there just to pick fights and attack people. And
You know, healing.
yeah, it is. There's something healing about it. There is
Hell yeah.
something healing about it.
Every now and then you just got to go for it. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
On
But,
someone who deserves it.
well, it's just, it'll be nice to see them get less empowered.
Yes.
It'll be nice to see them be less of a movement. You know? That'll be nice.
Take the wind out of their sails, Mehran.
That'll be nice.
They don't
Oh,
need
yeah.
sails.
I mean, but do you know what else though? I mean, like, I know that we're probably running long as fuck, but like one of the things I ran into when I was like cussing these people out, there was like a lady with like very few teeth who literally in her response to me on a thread, it was like, get off my life. Like she sounded very like sort of hickish, undereducated,
Yeah.
underprivileged, her own life like red. And so I went into her profile pictures and it was just like, this is a bleak life.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was like really attacking the character of someone whose life was
Shit from jump.
absolutely nothing to envy, you know? And so I just told her I felt really bad for her
Yeah.
and that I was sorry.
Now
that her
my
life
favorite
was
thing
suffering.
is
Which is even cuntier than a direct attack.
I know,
I know.
but you know what? But maybe that'll affect her.
But it's also the truth.
My favorite new line is, "You deserve help."
Good for you. Good for you. I love it. Right?
Because all those internet bullies, when they get compassion, they're like, "Fuck you!" Like they get so mad. Like
Yeah.
they
Sorry,
want
you're
you to be a
hurting.
cunt. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's like, as I bury my mother, as I bury like these people who like, you know, just they did the best they could with the tools they had.
Good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like some of them just didn't get those tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can just wish that an improving world might improve their outcomes too.
Yeah.
Like, that is
I agree.
the only hope,
It's beautiful.
right?
Well,
and in the
we're
meanwhile, I want to scare them.
yeah. Oh God, fuck
Every
yeah.
day.
Fuck
Every
with
day.
them. Fuck with them.
Every day.
Mehran, where can we find more of you? What would you like to promote?
I promote nothing. I do nothing. I'm
love
a
that.
kept woman. I try to keep a very low bar for ambition.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Never
Do you know what I mean?
disappointed.
Like I don't think that anything is important.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have like this huge. I don't have a fire under my ass.
Interesting that you're so into politics, though, when you feel like you don't think anything is important.
I think that like the emotional and moral landscape
yeah.
of the world is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that can make you want to get out of bed or not.
And anything that is an entry point into the dialogue of that,
Okay.
I think is
Totally.
to me interesting. Whether it's astrology or who you're voting for, or do
What's
you know
your
what
sign?
Gemini down 100%.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Gemini boy.
I'm dating a Gemini.
What's
yeah,
your
yeah,
rising?
Aries, moon and rising.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but so do you know what they say about Gemini boys?
They're fun as fuck.
So they say that the feminine Gemini aspect is like alternating between polarities. It's like, I love you, I hate you, I believe in it, I totally just right. Gemini men tend to be both barrels of a shotgun at the same time. Like,
Whoa.
I believe, don't believe this. I'm kidding, totally serious. I'm
That's
like,
fucking maniacal.
is that at all real for you guys? No, or is he just
no.
he's a good person?
He's a good person. Yeah, he's a
Holy
great person
shit.
and just fun. Very fun.
Do I know him?
Colin Smith.
It is Colin.
Yeah.
I fucking love him.
He's a very beloved person.
Like, I love him.
Yeah, a lot of people love him, which I'm like, wow, I've never dated anybody said that about them.
That's wild. How about you? You dating?
No, I gave it up and it's been good.
Okay.
I was like, well, I'm just not interested in this. Why am I doing this?
Wild.
It's just, I go, why am I doing it? It's one of those things where like society tells you should be interested in, and I'm just not interested in it.
How about sexual?
I mean, I'm interested in sex, but it's much harder to just have sex casually when you're older.
Yeah, you would think it wouldn't be because
I'm not
you
gay.
have sex with men.
No,
but
gay men can do it, but not when you're a woman.
Yeah,
No.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. That is also my experience.
So a lot of times I was just having boyfriends because I just wanted to have sex, and I was like, it's really not worth this. This is a very bad.
I will say the one
Deal.
time I hired a sex worker, A+.
Yeah, but that's so expensive, Krystyna.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I had
come on.
But I had him for
No, it's
3
like
hours.
thousands
It was
of
$1,000.
dollars.
It's not thousands of dollars.
No, for a woman.
the
1,000
one
for
that you
3
wanted.
hours.
Okay.
Because I had to talk to him first. I couldn't just fuck.
Okay, great.
So, but if you would just want 1 hour, it's
No,
like
that doesn't
$330.
do anything for me. That's the problem. I need to like the person as a human being.
Yeah, it's,
what do they call that? They're
Sapiosexual.
But then isn't there
What a-
there's some other?
I don't know.
You have to
human.
like the person. There's the
Yeah, you have
there's
to
the
be
one
like
where you
attracted
the
to who they
person.
are.
Well, I used to be able to just fuck anyone. I don't have that in me anymore.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
I wish I had that.
I really exclusive because I love Noah, and
He's lovely.
like I love
He's your
my
person.
husband so
Yeah.
much. Like
Yeah.
like in that hallucinatory like. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I die, I will recreate him from the, like stardust.
That's beautiful. I love
like
that.
I love
sweet.
this person.
I love that.
But like the very idea that mine should be the last dick he ever sees or his should be the last dick
Yeah,
I ever see.
it's rude.
It doesn't compute.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It
I want to
doesn't
adopt
compute.
that. I want to adopt that mindset. I don't know how.
It's
Well,
just much more common in the gay,
Among
especially
us.
the male gay community.
But
I mean,
then
Dan
the-
Savage talks about it ad nauseum.
The gays were kind of forced to go, all right, well, fuck it, we don't care. But look how great it's working for you.
Well,
you're
and also,
happier.
I think about this a lot. In fact,
I don't think gay people are happier than straight people.
Well, at
I
least
think
with
they've
the
tried to
sexual-
sell that to us. I think you
It
you particularly might be, but I think overall everyone's equally unhappy.
I think that's very real.
Yeah.
I think there's
I know
some-
a lot
there's
of
some-
unhappy gay men.
But I will say, like
Yeah.
one thing that's interesting, and this actually came up. One of the reasons that I ended up going off of social media a while ago,
Yeah.
was you were moderating a conversation at the beginning of the New York Comedy Festival. Was it both of you?
Oh, wait, I think I remember.
And it was like maybe 40 minutes after the New York Times had released its article about Louis C.K.
Right, right.
And I got a text on the way to the interview to read the article because we were going to talk about it.
Right.
So there was no prep. There was no court of public opinion. The public hadn't weighed in at all.
Yeah.
Not a syllable.
just happened,
It
yeah.
had just happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I remember I was being a little flip about it, and I got so much shit. I got so much shit for being flip on this one.
Oh, really?
recording.
Well, comics already knew about this for like
The-
5 years. So
absolutely.
we're like, this ain't news to us. But
No,
yeah.
but the general public was like, you're being permissive about this. And one of the things that like came up for me in all of the conversation around that, because I was like, he should just find someone who will humiliate him for money.
Right,
He has
right.
money. He should hire sex workers who will point
Yeah.
and snicker, and he can do whatever he wants. But it occurred to me that like as a homo, because when I like am 13 and I know I'm gay, I start the Gay Straight Alliance at my high school when I'm 15. Like everything is
GSA, baby.
like very that way, right?
Love that.
But just being a fag in the 90s,
Yeah.
like I had to field so many ugly questions.
I just want you to call an album Fag in the Night.
Fag in the 90s. But the problem with it is that like I had to like really develop a language and relationship with like, how do I articulate sex for myself? What is sex for myself? Because like I'm fielding like, sort of vulgar questions about anal and like,
Right.
and getting fucked in the ass and who are you fucking in the like
Ignorant ass
and
questions.
I'm a baby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But because of that, like I have something of a very open inner dialogue about sex and have
Right.
since a very early age. Like
You're forced to be comfortable with that.
and know what I want and know where it lives and know
Yeah.
where to find it and have a certain so maybe it hypersexualized me a little, which I think there are worse things that one can be in this mortal coil.
Word.
But it also just like I'm like I don't think twice about it.
Yeah,
like, I don't
right.
think like
There's no shame
dick,
about it. There's
Yes,
no- yeah.
dick. By all means, suck
Yeah,
a dick.
yeah. Right.
Get a job, suck a dick.
Right, right.
What does T.S. Madison say? Get a job, honey. Start a business, bitch. Suck a dick. But it's like, it's casual. It's a casual like thing for me. And I don't think that it's necessarily built into everyone's life that way.
Chaperone would disagree. It's not casual.
What does
wish it would
chaperone
be
say?
more
Help me with chaperone. Help me with chaperone.
Oh, really? She doesn't think it's casual?
Oh, I mean, she literally has my favorite song of hers is called Casual, and she's using it with she's saying it from between her teeth. Oh, is it casual now? That song is a masterpiece.
Oh, I gotta listen to it.
Okay. She comes recommended.
I saw her on
my top artist of 2023.
Elton John was hanging out with her and posted about it on Instagram, and I was like, "Who's this lady?" And then I'm like, "She seems cool as fuck."
Oh yeah, she's also like
very interesting.
Dresses interestingly, which I love.
Not
enough people wear a fucking costume on stage. We haven't had someone who really leaned into costumes since Gaga.
Love that. She did great in the Olympics.
I heard she
and
did.
Celine did great in the Olympics.
Did you see that documentary?
No,
I have to watch it. I sobbed during the little preview I saw on TikTok. I was like, how am I going to get through this?
So my mother had seizure disorder, and they show Celine having like a brutal seizure at one point, and
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I was so proud of her.
Yeah, it's a lot. She was great. I saw Celine and she was incredible. And honestly, that documentary, it's real nice to see, by the way. It's real nice to see someone who's like basically a human being.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like first and foremost, like she has 2 weird kids.
Yeah.
She hangs
so
out with her
goofy.
weird, hyper spoiled kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely, of course you spoil your kids.
Yeah.
By all means, they lost their dad. You're a rich pop star, spoil your fucking kids.
Yeah.
And then she has an opportunity to like big up another like fellow celebrity, another fellow singer. And she chooses this guy who sang a song like from the 80s called like You're the Voice. Like this woman in her Rolodex certainly has every A-lister ever, right? And she,
I want this book.
The only celebrity that she big ups in the entire documentary is this guy who like recorded it was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, wow.
Beautiful.
From the 80s or 90s.
Fake.
Like, I love
Woman of the
that
people.
energy. Like, I love that energy.
She's so bizarre and goofy. I'm excited. I'm going to watch that documentary tonight, I think.
Big time. You guys are beautiful.
We love you, Mehran.
I love you guys to ribbons.
Thank you.
Like, genuinely, every time I see you, I feel like humans.
He has nothing to promote and nothing to go to, so don't even think about
the
it.
Mehran on Instagram, and maybe
Follow
one day
him.
I'll do something with it.
This has been Guys We Fuck, the anti-slut shaming podcast. We will talk to you next Friday. Bye.